Howdy people, K30 Crazy. Today we're sharpening lawnmower blades, and yeah, let's get started. Okay, and before we work on this, a side note: if this deck is underneath your tractor and it's still hooked up, or if you're working on a push mower, please practice lockout tagout. Remove the battery cable, or take the keys out, and or pull the spark plug boots, because you don't want to be sticking your limbs up into these cutters and have someone start the tractor on you, or like on a push mower. Weirder things have happened, but you know, it could, if the scenario it could happen. You spin in the blade and it gets on a compression stroke and it sparks and fires up for some reason. You never know. You never know. You can never be too safe. So practice your lockout tagout. And yeah. Okay, so to remove your blades on your tractor, on your deck here, you've got two options. And it all depends on what you have for tools. So the first option is you're going to have to use a breaker bar or a ratchet and a socket. Now, it depends on what size your bolt is. This one's 15/16, but when you try to loosen the bolt, it's going to spin. No doubt about it, because it's very easy to spin. So what you have to do is wedge it somehow. And what I usually do is take a block of wood and shove it in the blade, between the blade and the side of the deck somewhere. So you're going to be spinning it loose to the left. It's going to spin counterclockwise. So me, I'd take a block of wood, wedge it between here and the blade, give it good and tight, put the breaker bar on it, bust it loose. If you need a hammer, go ahead and bust it loose. Just be very careful, because in case something slips, you could cut yourself. Now these are so dull you can ride cross country on them, but you know, it is what it is. But I have the technology, so I'm going to use Impact 15/16 chrome socket, because I'm a rebel. So just slap it on there, and it helps if you put it in the right direction. But yeah, that's simple. Don't lose the bolt, the nut. Bust her loose. Put that back on there so you don't lose it. And do the other side. Simple. It's there somewhere. Put that back on there so you don't lose it. Now you have two blades ready to exchange or sharpen or whatever it is you want to do with them. This is obviously for a tractor. There's two of them. You can have three, one if it's a push mower or a very small lawn tractor. But the first thing I like to do is take your blades, if there's more than one, put them together and just look down them, both sides. Look at them on the side angle, on the cutting edges. They should be fairly similar, and they should both be not bent. These are good. We've looked at these. They're fairly similar, almost identical. I've washed them already. You can take a screwdriver or a brush, get the rest of this grass off if you want to. I don't really care. It's good enough for who it's for. So now we're going to concentrate on the edges and look at them. This one's not too bad. They're all dull. You could ride across country on these and it ain't going to hurt you at all. This one looks identical to this one, except right here there's a nice little chunk taken out of it. So just that one little piece, I'm not worried about it. If you grind and grind and grind until you get that out, this blade will be out of balance. Unless you grind and grind and grind on this side, it's pointless. What's that? 1/16, 1/8 of an inch? It doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt that bad. So we'll just grind them until we get a nice sharp edge on all 4 edges. So, what do you use? They have fancy tools and stuff you can buy from, you know, Oregon's one of them. You can find a bunch of no-name brands on Amazon, at your local big box stores, whatever. I like using just an angle grinder. And so you can use a grinding stone if you wanted to. I prefer flap discs, flap wheels. You can get them at, you know, your Home Depot, Lowe's, Harbor Freight. These are on sale at Harbor Freight for like $3 or $4. It's good enough for me. So let's get started. That's going to be the first step, is grinding them with a 36 grit metal flap wheel, flap disc. And just a safety thing here, I'm outside, away from flammable stuff. You want to be sure what your sparks are hitting. You know, if it's hitting a bunch of oily shop rags, you're more than likely going to catch them on fire, and if you're not quick enough, burn your shop or house down. So yeah, be careful. Alright. And I concentrate one side of one blade at a time. We'll see how she turns out. I might go to a lighter flap disc. I might not. So you see there's a little, as you're sharpening, there's a little burr that forms on the underside of your grinding surface. And that's getting sharp. So when that starts, when you start getting a burr, you're pretty much sharp. So what I do is I just take a hand file and just clean up the edge black files are hot sitting out in the sun. You know, with all these sparks and hot surfaces and sharp objects, you might want to wear gloves, but ain't nobody got time to be looking for gloves right now, so I'll be alright. I'm not looking for perfect, I'm looking for better. So and sometimes I just run her down a piece of wood. Oh yeah. Look at that. Nice and sharp. You're not looking for razor sharp, but you're looking for sharp. And if you look closely, just that little bit of grinding almost got that nick out. So instead of grinding and grinding and grinding and ruining a set of blades, or at least one, you know, I'd run it like that, and next year I grind it again, or later this season maybe, depending on how much grass I cut, that nick will be gone. And you want your blades balanced, but I'm not counting, you know, swipes or nothing. But I'm also not gouging heavily on one side and not the other. You know, keep them both the same, get them sharp. Don't worry about the nicks and the gouges as much. Just get it sharp, and it'll be good enough. They'll run smooth, they'll cut nice. You know, you don't have to be perfect. Back with the hand filing. Sorry. There you go. That is one sharpened blade. Doesn't have to be razor sharp, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. Now we'll just do that to the other one, and we'll slap it on. Put her back together. Good to go. Alright. So now, to put them back on. If you leave the deck on your tractor, and you can't spin the shafts independently because it's not engaged, but you want to make sure that you put, if it's got numerous ways you can line them up, like a star pattern, you want to make sure you read the manual. They might have a certain position the blade needs to go in for the clocking of your deck to help induce flow out of the deck. This is loose on both sides, so I'll worry about that when I put it back on. So, quick and easy. Wait for my neighbor here. So, the proper way to put the blade on. Cutting edge angle, and this part, this blade, I guess we call it, the bend, the whip, whatever, airfoil maybe, that's all goes up. And all you do, line it up, make sure it sets onto the shaft correctly, put the nut back on. Now, I say that because a friend of mine couldn't figure out why his deck was cutting uneven in the center and shaking a little bit. He bought the tractor. It has 3 blades. It's a bigger deck than mine. The center one was put on upside down. So you want to make sure they're on correctly. The flat part, that's the cutting surface. This airfoil, or whatever you want to call it, that creates lift to suck the blade up so you get your even cut, and it also creates a vortex effect to circulate the grass clippings through your deck and out the chute or into the bagger system, whatever it is. So that's important. And if you have 3 blades or 2 blades and one's upside down, your deck's going to cut at different heights. So I'm sure there's a torque spec on these. Don't care. Impact. Get her on there. She's tight. We go by a torque value of ugga-duggas or impacts, however you want to say it. It's a 1/4 turn before snapping. Hillbilly torque wrench. Okay. Same on this side. Very simple. Get line back up. Tighten her down. She's good to go. Now's a good time to clean all the grass out of your deck. I hosed it out. It's not too bad. Good enough for its for. In the wintertime, I'll clean it out real good, wire wheel it, and paint it. Probably, because it's starting to get a little... I can't tell if it's a little surface rust or not, or just paint and primer. Actually, there's some rust right in there, but yeah, we want to keep her looking good, keep her working good, because that's not cheap.